start well, they can actually run away with it, and I have a feeling they might.
Cap deciding vote?
I just have fun staying on this MVP hype.
They do come out on top. So I'll ask you, the panel seem not the most confident, but it's slightly favor MVP. Do you favor MVP here, or is this going to be a 2-0?
I believe in the MVP hype, but I also believe that EG are the best team in the world right now, so it's just scary what EG can do. Yes, they lost the one best of 3, but this is a team who just thrives after a loss. They've won all their games today convincingly. They put Complexity away in 2-0 convincing fashion. Game 1 was a one-sided affair, and it's hard to see this series going any way except EG's. In this game, I feel, again, Universe Brood, he's gonna be the linchpin for EG, but I believe in Universe.
If you're gonna make a player on EG the linchpin, is there anyone more stable and solid than Universe? Maybe Fear, but outside of that, this guy doesn't have many bad games.
I'm happy with that being in Universe's hands, so.
So he is going to start here in the offlane. He's got 2 sentries of his own to play the D-ward battle. They've actually allocated 0 sentries for elsewhere on the map. Meanwhile, there are 3 on the bench, but no dust. I'd say more often we see a pair of sentries and a set of dust.
Yeah, that means you've got to be able to see the Brood and then make sure you can kind of chain send him and bring him down during the stun plus pounce. Which, level 1, not the easiest thing to do.
Well, if they're able to lock him down, maybe MP will have that Sunstrike. For now, though, he has skilled up Quas early on. An old school matchup here, the TA versus the Invoker. Thoughts on the matchup? It used to be very TA favored for a while. Is that still the case with the new and improved Invoker?
Yeah, for Quaswex Invoker, TA should have the last hit advantage.
Speaking of
well, it's not a 1v1 LP.
MP, it's never a fair fight. Oh, he's got the cold snap, but not even going to get it off. Fear bludgeons him down with that big old staff. And already our Spirit, in fact, even quicker than game 1, off to the races.
Yeah, and even Universe getting safe experience in the offlane. He's already de-warded 1 sentry and has his still standing to protect the lane, so all the lanes looking pretty strong and solid.
The beauty of the Earth Spirit Broodmother duo this game is you can't just protect your Invoker because you have to deal with the Brood. So one support's got to be top, the other support is a jungler and Enchantress. Thus, Sumail's always going to have the +1 threat, and if Fear's not scouted, he's going to be able to continue to fight those kills.
And even Universe has the +1 threat as well. A hero like Earth Spirit is really happy to play with a Brood because Brood, you build up a couple Spiderlings, there's these supports who want to try and go in the Brood and zone them out. Suddenly, a rolling boulder in, Dubu gets hit, Universe has Spiderlings, and you've killed off the Vengeful Spirit. So it's a very hard lane for MVP to play because of that.
As you mentioned it, Fear has made his way up towards top. Perhaps looking for a go, simultaneously 4-Ev with an Invis rune creeping on mid. That might be a potential kill, and even a Tornado joining the fray here as the Enchantress hero itself, Febby, actually wandered towards top, but didn't find Universe. He's going to hang back. Fear, though, looking to move forward. He waltzes into the lane. The Spiderlings, the forward post, but it will be scouted out and doesn't end up going for it. At least not yet. He's sticking around, though.
Febby's coming in from behind here with a couple of creeps, though, so not the safest place for Fear to be, although he will scout this out, which is important since he won't die to the solo Enchantress. And both teams kind of getting knowledge of where the 2 roamers are. This Fear versus Febby matchup, the 2 kind of roaming supports for the two teams, is going to be very crucial to dictate how the lanes go.
Well, the good news for MVP is QO is having a good start in the safe lane. He is your leader in terms of net worth, leader in terms of CS, maybe a couple of them Spiderlings, but still overall topping the chart. So QO is having a much better game. And MP, despite the death, he's still 9-5, getting his levels here mid, and actually doing pretty well against Sumail, all things considered.
Yeah, Sumail did not get the last hit on the first blood, which would have made this lane perhaps a bit easier for him. And we have seen Enchantress offer assistance. And this is, again, it's not just a straight up 1v1 between Invoker and TA. You've got the Earth Spirit roaming around, and you've got the Enchantress creeps coming to take part in this lane as well, which has kind of helped MP out after that slow start.
Some much needed assistance. Sphere again. The man to keep an eye on has made his way in towards mid, just looking for an opportunity to go. Tornado EMP crashing through onto Sumail. He's going to pop all his mana. Maybe the Satyr can get the kill here. kicks to try and stun it. He's slightly off the mark. We'll have to pop the fairy fire, but it will be enough to keep Sumail alive. The neutral creep expires, and well, although they don't quite get the kill, they force Sumail back to the base, so well played by MP.
Yeah.
This will be taken over by Fear, but still, TA not having that explosive start.
I mean, that's just some good mechanical play. MP using the Tornado EMP when Refraction was like 3 seconds away from coming back up, and that burns his mana, so then he can't use the Refraction when it comes back up, so becoming a fairly difficult lane for Sumail, and MP is going to have a fairly decent timing on his phase boots, which is where the lane suddenly gets a lot more manageable for you. Not to mention, you've got a nice tool to try and get away from those Earth Spirit ganks.
Yeah, no real support for Arteezy bottom, so very unlikely he gets a 4F kill unless he's way out of position. Always has that fissure to disengage, and when not, will likely sit far back. But mid lane, there's a smoke, a move forward onto MP. He's gonna just barely gets caught by the rolling boulder, and then they move forward. The Tornado EMP is gonna connect on 3, but they hold him in position with the Crystal Maiden, finding the counter kill there. In the end, not able to do anything to stop the aggression. Febby tried with a Hadouken, but it wasn't enough. But top lane, Universe also flexing his muscles. And it's going to start peeling apart the MVP onion. 3-0 now the score.
And this is where the lanes can just snowball out of control. All it takes is that one kill, and suddenly you're like, oh, Invoker's in trouble. Let's kind of rotate and try and help him out. And then suddenly you've got this Venge who finds herself exposed in the top lane, and you've got to be very careful about what your next moves are if you're MVP. I think the Enchantress needs to find a successful rotation at this stage of the game. You can't just be poking and harassing and helping the last hitting in lane. You need to find an actual kill on someone like the Brood. I mean, the Brood to me is like the kill that they need to get sometime soon.
Well, EG perhaps expecting that exact move. Our Burning 2 top. QO's here, not yet level 6. A good time to go for the Slark before he has access to the Shadow Dance, as they don't have a silence or any sort of instant initiation, like a Hex to secure a kill. And well, you wanted a move from the Enchantress gods, you're gonna get it. Febby and Dubu tag teaming here. They drop down an Observer Ward up on the high ground. You're gonna creep forward. It could be the perfect time to strike. There's nobody to protect this mid lane, but you can already see that Templar Assassin back in the jungle. Sumail playing it safe, and they are continuing to close the gap here top. Just nuking down the Slark, but the smoke is going to wear off EG. Not scouted yet, but also pretty far back. The roll forward will connect them QO, but he gets the leap off. They kick, and they still manage to get the stun. That puts TPD in range. But while that was happening, they got the kill mid on the TA, so it's a 1-for-1 here. Core for core. Not too shabby if you're MVP.
Yeah.
But it might lose them to tier 1 top.
It's the play they need to be making with the Enchantress, but EG just fighting the kind of ganking aggression of MVP with some of their own. I mean, it's not even like they're using it to combat. That's their early game strategy. Use Earth Spirit, find kills around the map, and there's just so many lanes where you can get kills with the Earth Spirit.
Oh, from the high ground, the old man comes. The MP getting dropped. It's on 2. MP very low, nearly dead, and Nova coming through, and that secures the kill. TPD active on the Crystal Maiden. Just perfect movements from EG, putting them up 5-1, which means about 2,000 gold, 2,000 experience. Feels like the same story in a lot of ways from game number 1. And this is without the tower going down top, but it's going to be dropping soon. Universe has a large swarm of Spiderlings, and now they can't really help him. Help that Slark to deal with the Brood. They're too busy dealing with the mid bleeding. And they're going to move 4Ev in, but there's a Radiant Sentry Ward here. If he creeps forward too much, he might get scouted out. Dubu and Febby hiding in the trees.
And just such good sustain in all these lanes because of the CM aura.
A quick poke. He'll get the D Ward, he gets out safely. Tier 1 does drop. And the last hit going to the Radiant.
Having the CM aura, like Ursa often has mana problems early on. He wants to use his just spells to zone out enemy offlaners. Similar story with a Brood in offlane. Ursa as a roaming hero, his spells cost a lot of mana and doesn't actually have much to support them, particularly the Boulder Smash. So 3 points already in the aura, and EG are just using that to kind of snowball in terms of aggression right now.
Now Sumail now hitting level 6 in the mid lane. MVP, it's choose your poison, really. They've given Arteezy basically free reign in the bottom lane. The Brood no longer being contested whatsoever, and that's allowed EG to really dominate this middle lane. Despite MVP's rotations, they've broken even there, and they are going to take over the Dire Woods now. You see Universe starting to extend his network of webs down towards the middle lane. Looks like he wants to get involved in the fight.
Yeah, I think he wants to go for a tier 1 tower dive, and then you can transition and if you take this tier 1 mid tower this early on the game.
Oh, they're rolling. This time it's a miss, but the kick's ahead. He's going to pull back the boulder, blocking down MP and finishing him off.
Wow. What a
Converted
rotation.
to the
Universe,
swarm.
like, doesn't even have enough webs, but he still just comes in for a nuke, and you just set your team up for success here. Being able to punish the early game of the Invoker, and also pressure this mid-tier 1 tower gives EG such an edge here.
Yeah, it's kind of the new way to play the Broodmother that we saw Vega pioneer going back to ESO1, where she comes to fight. She doesn't just split push. She takes over the enemy jungle, joins the mid or even Roshan engagements, depending on what side of the map you're on. And meanwhile, bottom lane, Arteezy trying to fight it out here. Fear again with the kick. There's the Fissure to counterplay it, but Arteezy locks onto Dubu. He's going to find one. He claps Bevy. Fighting getting a second here momentarily. Tornado EMP can turn the tide of this fight, though. Arteezy low. Gets up a couple last swipes, but will end up dropping MVP. They need to snowball this one. They will bring down the refraction of Sumail, but can they dive further?
Heroes. Like, this is not even a good exchange for them. Yes, you kill the EG safe lane carry, but the way kind of Ursa fits into this draft is it's much more about the other core heroes. Similar to last game, Ursa, I mean, he's farming well for one thing, so one death is not going to slow him down, but big picture-wise, you're losing your top tower, you're losing your mid tower, you're not farming well on the MVP side. Your Invoker's died 4 times. One kill on Ursa is not going to solve your problems here, and MVP still have a lot of work to do.
Maybe QO can solve their problems. He's certainly done it before. He is the leader in CS. He's picked up a Midas. If you ignore the tower gold, he would be the highest net worth in the game.
And EG smoking for Roche, it looks like. They will run into some MVP heroes, however.
Smoking for Roche, or maybe just looking for a fight. We'll find out soon. Arteezy will creep down towards the Ripper. They have a trap, and it gets eyes on Febby. PPD inching forward. Fear's also there. They've got the long-range initiation, and even walks into the pit. He goes for a bit of a scout, and it's the scout that will result in his untimely demise. And with that, EG is going to finish off the Dark Troll Summoner as well. Fissure. And then we'll see if they want to jump into the pit. It looks like they don't want to yet. Up against the Quaswex Invoker. It could be tricky, but mid lane Universe, he's looking for a Courier Snipe or maybe an MP kill. What's it going to be? Oh, he's close. One more poke. No, a perfect tornado from MP will save the Courier in the day. But QO joins this fight. He gets a pounce off on Universe. They need follow-up damage. They need detection. They have a dust on Febby. Not going to pop it. Well, at least they don't hemorrhage more gold.
Gosh, I mean, Universe is just creating tons of space. It's not even just Universe, it's everyone. It's Sphere roaming around on the Earth Sphere. So far involved in 7 of the 8 kills. Universe just taking the top tier 1 tower, coming mid after that.
I feel so bad for QO right about now. He's gonna get a bruising from the old man. Right on top of him, gets off the socks, but the Dark Tag does come through. He does manage to pop the ultimate, leaps away to the trees, but a roll forward, finds him out. Can he survive this? Another web gets deployed. He heads to the south. QO, time to pull out your fancy footwork. The old man still wanting to chase, but QO barely trickles away. The creeps are scouting him out. He needs that regen to take it now. And one solitary range creep will isolate him and prevent him from healing up, but he does manage to worm his way through the trees, down into the river. Still keeps it going well elsewhere. Sumail fairly close, but farming Ancients. Maybe too low. They're going to try to cut him off. Universe says no. The journey around the world ends in death, and now Febby, who wanted to save him, could be next. It's going to be slow going here through a level 2 untouchable, pops the dust, just looking for that little bit of move speed slow. Well, the limits
so sad,
of
like seeing QO juke the hell out of them, and then he could have just TP'd right by the T1 tower, but he's like, nah, no way they let me like TP in plain vision. It was daytime, the T1 tower even sees him. And oh, that was like the one hero who's having a good game on the side of MVP, at least as far as his farm goes. Had a good time on his Midas.
Oh, Febby, he's been found out again. Universe, maybe not going to kill him, but it's not letting this Enchantress have her way in the jungle.
And an Ench with Arcane Boots, really odd pickup, and a pickup you don't want to go, but I'm just not entirely sure what Febby's thinking with this. It does give you just your lineup as a whole a lot more sustain, but not going to really help you too much as far as fighting and into EG or even going for ganks and pickoffs here. Just kind of boosts up your mana pool once you do hit level 6.
Well, and then you look at where's the damage going to come from, and it's really just going to be the Slark. It's a Quaswex Invoker. MP's not going for the Exort build, so he doesn't bring too much damage to the table, so it does feel like pretty much all your eggs in the QO basket, which means he really can't be dying.
Absolutely. Well, PG, the Blink Dagger for Ursa are going to be the next big item timing for them. Haven't gone for Roche yet. I imagine Arteezy probably wants to max a Fury Swipe by level 10 just so he can have that faster Roche taking potential. Since you may only get a small window where you can get in the pit while MVP are dealing with a Brood or something, and You got to imagine that Roche is happening soon. It's taking a bit longer because EG are on Radiant, but all it's going to take is for 2 or 3 heroes to go top to fight the Brood, and then suddenly RTG's like, okay, now I'll take Roshan. There's just no rush to take Roche is all for EG.
Well, they do have a trap here in the woods, so they've seen a couple of MVP heroes moving forward. Arteezy gonna get scouted out, but they pounce onto Sumail. Oh, he actually looks like he latched there, but Sumail just able to blink away.
He took 5 ticks from the Dark Pack because he's still got 1 of his 6
refractions
left.
It looked like he wouldn't be able to escape, but just barely blinking away in time. That would have been huge.
Blink.
And given the position of EG, I think they get that kill too. But luck is not on MVP's side here, as EG continue to clinically spread the map.
And Universe is big. Vlad spreads. Level 11.
Roll forward, bottom lane, goes through the kick, will get caught by a tornado, but PPD's there with the deny, EMP coming through, and then Sumail with an aggressive blink, working on MP. 4F does have an Echo Slam, doesn't want to use it yet, wants to break through this refraction first. This leaves Dubu in a bad position, slowed down by the Crystal Maiden, shredded by Arteezy, another kill for EG, and now they see their opening. They want a Roche. Ursa TA, this is about as fast as it gets at this stage of the game. It's already a level 3 meld. Roche won't last long, but 4F is going to cut them apart, separating the 2 cores as QO thinks about a bold move. Can he leap in? Can he turn the tides of this game? It feels like they have to contest this Roche. A tornado spins through. Arteezy continuing to stack up the Fury Swipes. It's a very difficult engage. Another fissure, but that allows Sumail to blink onto 4F. Even the golems being turned against him, and now Universe arrives. Where did he come from? From top to bottom, he runs. And 4F will TP away, just make it out in the end, but still the Aegis going to Arteezy. EG hunting back Dubu with an army of spiderlings. Well, a clean Roshan take, though it looked like it could get messy for a moment there.
After a day of close 2-1 neck-and-neck series yesterday, we may be in for our fourth treasure in a row here.
He's been caught in the mid lane, and speaking about quick.
QO, speaking of getting caught out, he's out of mana here.
The man that can't afford to die is the man that will. EG 12-2, just slaughtering MVP, and you can search for a silver lining, gods, but really,
oh, Artur gets the Midas.
It feels like there is none.
Well, it's easy with his classic.
The old adage. When you're ahead, get farther ahead with the Midas, and when you're behind, the only way to catch up, get a Midas.
Is this a BM Midas? Can we put it in that category?
But the thing is, I think it's, let's say we do, it's game 2. He saved the BM for game 2, yes. And it looks secure. Well, they might find Universe here. Swap back in, into an Echo Slam. Big pick for MVP.
I know, seriously, Midas is good against the Enchantress creeps, of course, but I mean, not having a blink. He's going to have a blink so incredibly fast is the really funny thing. He's got Midas and he'll have blink right after this tier 1 bottom tower if he wants it.
It does secure. Ursa's not really the best farming hero. Generally farms heroes, not creeps.
Yep.
It's pretty level dependent, I would say.
This Enchantress does not stand a chance with all this attack speed.
That's true. Every little bit will help there. As Arteezy TPing into the top lane, gets stunned by a Centaur. He'll take out his anger on it. PPD supporting that.
Speaking of which, here's Enchantress, Febby.
Oh.
I don't think that's... Oh, okay,
Arteezy. Guess you're wrong with the juke, so no chance of the kill. But MVP, even with that one Universe kill, it still maintains a big lead for the Geniuses side. Yep. Over 10,000 gold, 8,000 experience, map control advantage, Aegis their way. MVP have a Mount Everest to climb.
I think the biggest reason why I just don't think Midas is a good item on Ursa is because you're so item slot limited. You often are carrying Aegis, you have to get a blink. Mask of Madness is a very it's a very efficient item you want to have, but it fills up the slot quickly. So you get maxed out as Ursa very quickly with these small items. So
and then generally you either get a Basher or maybe a Hex. You're gonna have one damage item. We often see the Aghanim Scepter. At that point, you're pretty much done.
Which is why I mean I don't think it's like it's totally bad mannering, but I don't think this is like a very serious item pickup necessarily for Arteezy. Could be totally
it's some
wrong,
late game insurance.
Yes.
If things go south, I suppose he'll be a bigger factor later on.
I don't see him going that way right now, but
well, they are going south, technically speaking here. MVP plunging into the Radiant Woods, but not the south that we're thinking.
Well, EG heading the exact opposite direction, straight down the mid lane. They'd actually love to take a fight right now.
Man, how good would it be for MVP if there's no tier 1 mid? Then they could actually execute a backstab, but it would be scouted out.
It sounds good, but I don't know if they could actually fight for this Ursa.
They could backstab, but EG will just rip the knife out of their hands and punch it back the other way.
So they'll trade tier 2 towers, but EG can force high ground. Desolated TA means the EG push with the Vlads as well on Brood is going to be just that much faster, and there's no real way for MVP to pose a threat to the high ground racks. EG can get racks before MVP take. Maybe they get a tier 3 tower at most, and I think MVP recognizing that will TP back to defend.
Arteezy, Fissure coming through, slowing him down. It's up to MP to hold the line. The Tornado not offering much. EMP not too great either. And now Arteezy blinks onto Bevy, tries to go to work on him, has the ult. The kick comes through. Fear drills him, and that means a likely tower dropping as well. Silencing MP. They are going to jump in with QO. He engages. He's desperate to hold the line here, but they magnetized him. Then Forev gonna reveal his blink. Dagger just managed to pick it up. They're gonna swamp away to safety, so they've killed off the Earth Spirit. That's the Aegis cracked. Sumail though has a double damage rune. Tread carefully if you're MVP. Forev's thinking about a Fissure.
Yeah, EG just gonna back off, not wanting to potentially engage into a losing fight. Slark, if he can manage to find a way to somehow clean up. Quaswex Invoker also, once you get your Tornado EMP back up, you're always looking good as well, so maybe a little bit careful.
Important to mention, Febby did have to buy back there, so not in, it's relatively early, but still, they have to expend an extra life to hold that.
So they hold high ground, they take out the Aegis. EG are going to have to wait for their next level of items / Aegis before they kind of make another go, or they're going to have to get some big pickoffs. But next time around, like looking at next Roshan, there's going to be likely a BKB on Sumail's Templar Assassin. Brood already pretty much has a BKB. Ursa's got 2.5k gold, so Arteezy's next item pickup will be well online. So
speaking of Arteezy, MP, oh, he has a fish with the Tornado.
I'm not
they
sure.
actually had backup coming.
It was very far away. I think it was going to be too far away to get a kill there, but
yeah, maybe a swap forward into a stun could have been tricky. He's actually got no teleport cooldown, and he has scouted out, but he blinks away. Wave of Terror off the mark. Arteezy is going to dodge some bullets. So QO on the side of MVP, continuing his farm progression. He's still in the running, I mean, when it comes to net worth.
Yes.
If he can get really farm, like we're talking 4 or 5 slotted Slark, is it a good enough Slark game that he can just take over and dominate EG?
Yeah, Slark matches up well against all the EG cores for the most part. He's still a lot of stats. Brood's not really too big of a threat. Ursa, like when you're fighting around your Shadow, when you have Shadow Dance, like you can match up decently against Ursa as well, but Ursa's just ahead of him from now, and that means Ursa can kind of go for the Sheep Stick, go for a Abyssal Blade, and it will make it very hard for QO until he does get those 4 or 5 big items, which we're looking at much further down into the late game.
Yeah, and as for EG, they're going for items that help them win earlier, help them win before he comes online. Sumail working on a BKB. Universe is nearly complete, only about 300 gold short. We'll, I imagine, see Fear building towards that Veil or even some utility item, but he's got quite a bit banked up.
Aether Lens, it looks like, for now.
Okay. Yeah, it does just now purchase 3 of health, and another Midas for MVP. It's a late one on MP.
I think it's fine. I think the MVP Midas pickups make a lot of sense here. You're just so far behind, the late game is where and how you're going to win this game, so as an Invoker, you're like, well, what item can I get that's going to help us out that's not a Midas? Like a 4-star maybe saves a life here or there, but you're going to not transition well at all. If you go 4-star, your late game's non-existent as an Invoker.
So seeing this double Midas, and especially the late Invoker Midas, does that change your game plan at EG? Do you feel more urgency to end it, or are you still pretty comfortable?
Nope, you're still just, it doesn't affect your strategy. You're still going to try and end it with the next Aegis, I want to say, or at least get a push high ground with the next Aegis.
Get a lane of Brax, yeah.
I don't think you feel like you're in a rush because of this. You still have map control, you're still getting more farm out of the map overall. You've got Midases as well. Arteezy went Midas, so you're matching up Midas for Midas right now.
Where's the PPD Midas?
Yeah,
Misery would not be pleased.
CM Midas? Holy crap, this Radiant Courier stack. BKBs, Ags or whatever, I don't even know what's going on in this.
Looks like Arteezy Ags under construction. So the Ursa Ags.
Very good.
It pretty much counters all of MVP's lockdown.
You try and stun him as an Earthstick and he's just going to get... I mean, you've got 3 stuns at least to work around, but Arteezy can always...
And it even removes the Cold Snap, right? So probably the most annoying spell that MVP have for the Ursa will be dealt with by that. Good pickup for sure.
Yeah, very. I don't want to say underrated because most Ursa players, like your top Ursa players, are all going it now. But even
it was a little underrated for a while.
The cooldown gives you even higher uptime of the spell. It gets down to 18 seconds when you have level 3 Enrage with Aghanim Scepter, so...
Well, we all have based CTY to thank for the proliferation of the Aghanim Xersa, as well as the Mask of Madness. It's become the de facto build. Universe moving in. They are smoked up here on the EG cores, and it looks like they want to jump. Dubu's going to walk right into it. He will be a quick snack for Arteezy. The question is, do they get more QO? Counter-initiating, he blinks forward, then pounces away, deciding this is not the fight for him. Universe with the BKB, looking for the backstab, engages with the Insatiable Hunger. Everyone retreating, but QO, oh, he's been forced to ult. Arteezy forces that cooldown out. A minute, or he won't have it available.
I think it's okay. EG probably don't want to force high ground into Blink Echo Slam, even with the Shadow Dance.
Are you sure? Sumail's got a double damage rune.
It's
and a
BKB.
With DD.
Okay, DD maybe changes things, but MVP have Blink Echo, they've got glyphs, so...
It comes down to the timing here.
I mean, Tornado EMP, like, this is just all so frustrating to try and push into.
Arteezy, very early on in this one, is going to pop the Enrage.
I mean, EG quickly realized, like, holy crap, ending this game is incredibly difficult. But they're still in a good position. It's just going to be a few more items, another Aegis, maybe even an Aegis of cheese.
Is this where you just wait for the fear Aghanim Scepter? Get that guaranteed pick off from the Enchant Remnant?
Yeah,
and Aether Lens? Then you go.
The nerf range and the cast for the Enchant Remnant makes it a lot harder to rely on, but...
Yeah, still pretty good defensively.
Yeah. It's not good at like using on the Slack, because the Slack has so many, like if you pick him in, he can always Shadow Dance, Pounce, Blink away, so... You have to try and find someone like an Invoker.
Here comes MVP on the prowl, moving out into their jungle.
This MVP team just has balls of steel. Like they'll go for these aggressive smoke plays where they try and fight at like the most kind of unexpected times. Like last game it was like, oh, let's just go to the other side of the map right after losing a rack. This time around it's like right after the other team gets a Roshan and Aegis. They're looking for a pick-off, and they just really mess with the other team's kind of tempo because they do such unexpected movements.
Let's see if the geniuses see it coming.
Well, they'll find
Universe farming Ancients for now. Smoke about to expire, and it will break, and they dust Universe. They get the Echo off, they lock down the Broodmother. They get the kill, MVP.
Fast play from Borev there, very fast fingers.
He's got BKB. That could have gone completely south if he popped it in time.
And EG even quickly looked to rotate
towards QO in the mid lane. Arteezy's gonna have a blink soon. He latches onto him a bit. Fear though with the pullback off the mark. The kick will hit though. This could be bad for QO. No ultimate, has to pounce away. But Arteezy has the move speed to try and chase. Continues pursuit. He's got one more blink, but he'll let it go there. And top lane is pushing, so EG may be drawn back.
MVP are holding on. They're kind of just, again, they're looking to play and scale into that late game. MP, we're seeing a Yules on a Quaswex Invoker just because they want to have stalling defensive tools just so they just don't get overrun by this Ursa. And MVP still yet to lose a Rax. I'd love to see, MP really needs, I think level 13 he's about to get it, he needs that Exalt point. You just open up, right now he's only got 4 spells and
he's trying to set up Vidger, not quite timed perfectly, so Arteezy just limps out.
What's he gonna go?
And the Enchantress that died earlier is coming.
Level 13, that's a late Exalt point, but...
Well, could be just in the nick of time. Arteezy though still holding the Aegis here. QO's going to engage, pouncing forward. Or rather, blinking forward, then pouncing back. And now roll in from Fear, a big commitment into the middle of MVP. Will he get punished for this one? Looks like he's going to drop. The old man, well, you mentioned balls of steel. I think that qualifies as well, but those balls get crushed anyway. Now QO on the chase, he wants to find more here. Latching onto PPD with the blink forward from the pound. Universe on the backside, going to work with the BKB, ignoring the untouchable of Bevy, working his way down up the Enchantress while Arteezy and Sumail combine onto Forev. They're going to kill up the Shaker, has to buy back, may need to use it. QO, well, not able to find the Crystal Maiden kill in the end. He has to back away and they jump onto him. They baited out Arteezy a little bit, but Arteezy's still in the Aegis. The hero they can't afford to lose is Sumail. Tornado crashing through. Can they lock him down? Iceball getting dropped once more into the breach from QO. Not enough to finish the job, but Arteezy's Aegis is going to pop now. He had about 2 minutes left, so it's a pretty big pickoff. Can they kill him again? They want to try. Borev's there. Arteezy popping the ultimate, immediately getting re-stunned, but then pushed back. Looks like he's still going to survive for now. MP laying into him. Plink by Plink. Auto-tech by Auto-tech. They will try to bring him down. Universe looking for the side swipe here. They might lose Arteezy. This is huge! Borev! Massive echo! Brings down Arteezy. Destroys the Crystal Maiden and sends EG packing. MVP, hang on.
The teamwork,
they have not lost the Rex.
They just, frustrating EG so much with this high ground defense of theirs. They're using the fissures spam constantly, the tornado EMPs, everything. Slark just keeps blinking in with a dark pack and then pouncing out and delaying the push. EG are just getting kited around for days, and that's where PPD gets forced to go into this 4-star item, but it's still not enough to keep RTZ alive. He kind of had to die to keep to save Sumail and the Templar Assassin. And
speaking of Sumail, BKB and Hyperstone ready to go, and he's coming from the side. It looks like EG want to fight. Fear's in position in the trees, but he's about to be found by Dubu. Scouts him out. The Vengeance gonna ambush the old man, and instead of getting the jump, he goes down. What a play from the support! Jump heavy out, runs back in, but Kuro gets to work now. PPD gonna fall. MVP turning this game, stack by stack, bit by bit. Kuro, 100 and GOD, turn it 4, 3 downs, all day MVP. It's a miracle.
well, this is why you give QO a lane where he can farm.
Not done yet. They see RTZ.
Oh, very close to canceling that blink. RTZ almost losing his life there as well, and he had no buyback.
Look at this Slark, 87 stolen agility, and hammering at tier 2s. Do MVP push it further?
Oh, they want kills. I think he's actually going to go for the
They're
kill
going to
here.
make the move onto RTZ. Fizzler coming through, he pops the ult, but the damage is pretty damn enormous. Alacrity, chewing through him. QO fairly low though, he's carrying the jump. He can't afford to go down now. He needs to back himself away.
RTZ 20 HP!
Oh, QO does make it out.
Oh, I think Enchantress's last right click wasn't an impetus. It was just a normal right click there, unfortunately.
Maybe didn't have the mana. It was close, it looks
Yeah.
like.
Very neck and neck stuff, and now you can see kind of the justification for Febby getting the arcane boots. He transitions into the Guardian Breeze for the team.
EG still leading when it comes to numbers, but it feels like their
MVP.
control over this game is just gone.
They are just showing incredible tenacity here. They refuse to say die. They refuse to be beaten. And they're ready to keep on fighting. They're just poised on the high ground here. They want EG to push out of their base. They're like, come on, EG, let's go for another round.
RTZ might cooperate. He's just sprinting at them. Dubu waiting on the high ground. There's the fissure to start. And then 4F says, let's not do that. But Dubu, oh, maybe the sacrifice. The clap kills him. A bit overeager. They will forfeit the bench.
Just a venge kill, guys. Just a venge kill.
But this is all part of the plan. They want to lull EG into that false sense of security.
QO
And then they'll strike.
QO has 5k gold with the Scotty. He's up there as found as the TA, and it's going to be the much harder to deal with late game carry. Picks up an Eagle Song. Ursa, a hero who just does not deal well with evasion. You don't have... Talked about how his item slot limited. At this stage, he needs an MKB. He maybe wants to get like a Diffusal to deal with Ghost Scepters. There's a Ghost Scepter on Venge.
And the same for Sumail, who's going into what looks to be an Assault Cuirass now.
I mean, he can slightly better as far as he can replace the bottle with an MKB, and when he seizes, I think he almost has to stop building AC and just go right into the MKB. But very useful item for Kuro to have, not to mention just the extra damage and right clicks he gets. The thing with the Ursa is, when you're in rage, you're super tanky, you don't die, but if Slark's hitting you during that, he's getting that 100 plus agi stolen, even though he's not getting kills right away. Once that enrage ends, then he can finish off the Ursa, he finds a new target, and he's just snowballing through these fights.
And let's remember, if we look at the overall drafts here, EG have some heroes that don't contribute as much later on. You've got a Broodmother who hasn't itemized for hard carry Brood. This is very much like end the game early, mid-game style Broodmother items. You've got Crystal Maiden, who generally just becomes food later on, has the 4-step, PPD can maybe save an ally. All of MVP's cores and even their supports remain relevant into the late game, but we're not quite there yet, and EG are on the move. Up to the top lane they go, kick forward, and Q actually pounces into this one. He could be in danger, he's gonna need help, Magnetize coming through, they are gonna swap away to safety, but RTZ locks on, he just barely gets off the Shadow Dance, sprints backwards, the old man locks into 4M though, there's the Echo, 1-2, QO wants to come back in, he's down the Earth Spear, from the rear, pokes him down with that dagger, now Universe BKB and wants to retreat, it's 3 down for MVP. The man that can't afford to die is Mr. QO. He carries a gem, he carries a hell of a lot of gold, the hopes and dreams of his team, but die he will. It all started with one big kick and an unfortunate time to pounce forward.
Pouncing into the enemy team while stunned, didn't get off the dark pack. Oh, that's so heartbreaking for QO.
He has buyback, but the rest of the team doesn't, and the waves are pushing.
That fight could not have started worse for MVP, unfortunately, and
he buys back. It seems that's enough to deter EG. Oh boy.
Very, very costly. That was his
basically a butterfly.
money.
He had a butterfly, if not for the buyback.
Well, MVP gonna have to look to just settle themselves down here a bit.
So, next Roshan is up. Can MVP possibly sneak this?
They haven't got a good Roche lineup. Not with the Quaswex Invoker. They have maxed out the Wave of Terror on Venge, but Roche has kind of gotten to a point where it's not the easiest thing to bring down, and EG have TA, so they always have vision into the pit. They see QO in here now, and this is not a play I feel is a very safe play for QO to make. But hey, they're going to go for it. They feel like they have to go for something big. EG are going to make a move to counter this, I can only imagine. Here they come.
Even if they don't fully see it, they know, and in fact, they have vision here into the pit, so they know exactly what's happening. Fear's gonna roll in and start it. QO, it's gonna be a dieback, it is! Dead for 100, and with that, MVP are gonna get around it. Bebby's next. Well, EG have salvaged this one, and they say, screw the Roche, we're gonna take the racks.
You live by QO, you die by QO. It's always been the way with this guy. He puts his team on his back sometimes, has these just all these jaw-dropping performances, but then he makes mistakes like that 2 in a row, and MVP may be done for on the back of that.
A lot of pressure on the young player's shoulders, and speaking of a young player, Sumail, he's a veteran at this point, confidently struts forward. They're going to kill off 4 and straight onto the throne. EG had a take now with Liquid, and Secret is sitting back and waiting to see who they're going to play tomorrow. The boys in blue, they just never fail to disappoint on the big stage.
Yeah, a heartbreaking way for MVP to end, and for us, the fans, the viewers, it felt like MVP were going to claw their way back in and make a match of this, but then unfortunate mistakes. It wasn't even, like, in some ways EG played a hell of a game, but QO just kind of giving them a couple of gifts, and it's EG victorious here, going through to the top 3 of the Shanghai Major.
They've still got a lot of work yet to do. Even should they beat Liquid, it's going to be a long day for them. But for now, all we can do is take our hats off to EG, as well as MVP, who had an incredible run here. Not just them, but also Fnatic from the Southeast Asian region, going deep in this tournament and showing that there's life. It's revitalized.
Yeah.
SEA, even in defeat, is back.
And unlike some of the other teams, like you see Secret out there with